What is your full name?
Everett Endicott.
That's with 2 T's.
Yes.
Okay, and what's your address?
2446 Southwest 35th Drive, Redmond, Oregon, 97756.
Okay, and your phone number?
541-548-4062.
Okay, and do you have an email address at all?
Jigger,
How do you spell that?
Jigger @bandbroadband.com.
Okay, and where were you born?
Hood River, Oregon, 1919.
And what was the birth date?
December 6, 1919.
Okay, and let's see, your next of kin?
Betty Endicott, wife.
And how many years was that?
71 years.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see. Which branch of the service were you in?
Well, back then, Army Air Corps. Retired from the Air Force.
Okay, and were you commissioned, enlisted, or drafted?
I enlisted in November of 41, the Army Air Corps.
Do you know what date in 41?
Can't remember, I'm not sure, but I think the 29th.
Okay.
It was about 2 weeks before World War II started.
And what was your end date with the service?
My what?
Your last day of service?
August, let me see, August the 9th of 1969.
Okay, and your highest rank?
Lieutenant Colonel.
And your unit number or division or group?
There was many of them, but my last one I was in the...
So if you could just go ahead and give me the list of the ones if you remember, all of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, when I first went in, I went through a radio school as a buck private. I had applied for aviation cadets. And after I got out of there, I went to Boca Raton, Florida, to a radar school, which was just brand new. And then I went into aviation cadets in pre-flight, San Antonio, Texas. That was in 42.
And what was the group or unit number? Do you know what's the unit number that you're in?
Well, as I have no idea.
Once you started flying though, do you remember what group you were in?
Well, in World War II, then after I got out of flying school, went to St. Petersburg, Florida, flying P-40s in the 440th TAC Recon Wing. Well, it was a 440th training wing. And like I say, flying P-40s. And then I was kept there as an instructor in P-40s. Then we got P-51s, and they started the 3rd Fighter Command Aerial Gunnery School, and I was in the first class in that flying.
What was the name of that group?
That was the 3rd Fighter Command Aerial Gunnery School. And they kept me as an instructor there flying P-51s.
Okay, so you were in World War II.
Yep.
You were in Korea and Vietnam.
I wasn't in either one. Well, I was in Vietnam, but I wasn't in Korea, but I was in the service. I was recalled in.
Right, but during the Vietnam War era.
Yes.
Okay. And we'll go through each one of the places that you've been through. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
Okay, were you in any battles
No.
No battles which people recognize? Did you receive any medals at all?
Bronze Star in Vietnam.
And did you have any achievements or highlights that you remember?
Any what?
Achievements or highlights or special moments that you remember from those times?
Oh my. Well, I was kept as instructors, it seemed like, all the time. Like in that 440th, when I was kept as instructor there, I went in to see the commander and told him I didn't want to stay as an instructor. I wanted to go overseas with my guys, and he says, "No one asked you what you wanted to do." I said, "Yes, sir." So, yeah, and then...
that was the P-50s or P-40s?
Yeah, and that was in...
St. Petersburg? Where were you at there?
That was down to St. Petersburg, Florida.
Okay. Were you ever a prisoner of war at all?
No.
Okay. Did you sustain any injuries from your time in the service?
Well, no. I was deferred a post, and I did get, when I retired, I got a 30% disability for my hearing.
Okay. And so your main job when you were in the service was as an instructor, pretty much?
Yes, that was during World War II, and then later I was an aircraft maintenance officer.
Okay.
And of all things, I was in the 99th Bomb Wing, B-52s, and here's a fighter pilot and a maintenance officer in bombers.
Okay, all right, we'll go through each one of those briefly. Let's go ahead and start back at the beginning, just for a few minutes. Okay, can you tell us about your grandparents or your family, where they came from in America, or a little bit about your family's history?
Okay, my father was from Wisconsin, but he came to Oregon, oh gosh, must have been about 1912 in that area. And then on my mother's side, they came by wagon train in 1850 across the plains. As they started out, I think he had 18 yoke of oxen and 6 wagons, and ended up with 4 oxen and 1 wagon.
Now, what was your mother's maiden name?
Campbell, Campbell.
So originally, as your family, before America, what countries did your family come from?
Well, my mother, she must have come from England, and also my dad.
And were they what kind of trades were they in? What kind of work did they do?
Did they do what they?
What kind of trade? Were they merchants, or what kind of work did they do?
Oh, my dad was a building contractor, and then during the Depression, he was working for Jefferson County, and he was killed in an industrial accident down there by Warm Springs.
How did your parents meet?
Well, he was building a house for my grandfather down just this side of Warm Springs, and of course my mother, he met her when he was building this house, and they got married. I'm sure it was like about 1913.
Okay, and tell us again about where you were born.
And
where were you born at?
I was born in the Hood River, and the reason we'd been in Madras, my parents had, and my dad was working on that big hotel at Hood River. And I was born during 1919, during the big snowstorm. And then we went back to Madras shortly after.
And so you were born in a hospital or a home?
Home.
In a home. And tell us, do you have any brothers and sisters or siblings?
I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And Let's see, I believe they were all born at home.
And can you tell us a little bit about some of your memories of childhood? What was life like for you as a kid?
What about it as a...
Childhood memories about when you were a kid. What was it like?
Oh, yeah, well, of course I had 2 older brothers and 2 younger sisters. I was right in the middle, and my older brothers took pretty good care of me, really. And then when we moved to Redmond, I was started the 2nd grade in Redmond. And all during school I was very active in sports.
You're an outside kid, like to be outside?
Yes, and then, yeah, we did a lot of hunting and fishing and outdoor type stuff.
Did you live in town or were you out in the country?
We lived in town.
So did you walk to school or take a bus? Or
Walked.
Walk to school.
And it was quite a long ways, yeah.
What was the first school you went to?
Oh, the first one was the John Tuck School. And then later in the Redmond High School. And that building's still there on Evergreen School, yeah.
And did you guys eat dinner around the dinner table? Were you that type of family?
Always, yes. Always around the dinner table, yeah.
And your mother, tell us a little bit about your mother's name, a little bit, and a little bit about her personality.
Yeah, she was, her name was Anita Endicott, and when my dad was killed, I was in 8th grade, and she had 5 kids to take care of, so she was a worker, boy, I'll tell you. And she finally moved to Bend, and she died, I think she was 88 when she died here in Bend.
What year was she born, do you know?
Let me see, she was born in 1893.
And her full name?
Was Sarah Anita Campbell.
Cool. And then how was your relationship with your mom?
Very good, yeah. We always had a good relationship. Yeah.
Now, were you a religious family? Was there a lot of religion in the home?
Not really, no. She had, when she was going through school, she had gone to a Catholic boarding school in the Dalles, she and one of her sisters, but she never was really active in the Catholic Church at all.
In your house, did you have books? Was reading important at all?
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff like that, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your father, his full name, and a little bit about your father.
My dad was Benjamin Franklin Endicott, and his dad was Benjamin Franklin Endicott, and he was born in, 1888, I think, in Boaz, Wisconsin.
Was he a tall person, or what did he look like?
He was pretty tall. For that back then, he was about 6 feet, and there were 10 kids in his family. He was the youngest. My mother's family, there were 11 kids, and she was right in the middle.